Across the pond and in the chair for a daily rant. Hello, Ari.
Hey, Dylan. Thanks. Look, this week everyone's talking about how Occupy Wall Street's going to evolve into a political force. And now some organizers are settled in on a big politician as their target, the Democratic governor of New York.
The people want a government that realizes that there is no economic future for the state of New York if we are the highest tax state in the nation.
Governor Andrew Cuomo has taken a big gamble on a plan that unambiguously sides with the so-called 1%. He wants to actually abolish New York's millionaires tax. The law taxing the top bracket expires in December. Now, if extended, that millionaires tax would actually provide about $3 billion next year, when the state budget is scheduled to have about $2.5 billion of a shortage. But instead, Governor Cuomo has been cutting education and health care spending in order to save money in that budget. Now, some activists are calling him Governor 1%. Look, if you follow insurgent activist movements, it's actually no surprise that Occupy Wall Street, which has more in common with the left than the right, is targeting these Democrats. In fact, the famous anti-war protesters in 1968 were at the Democratic Convention. And over the last decade, the challenges from Move On and Liberal Roots activists were also against conservatives who were within the Democratic Party, like Joe Lieberman, Al Wynn, and most recently, Senator Blanche Lincoln. It's the same on the right when you think about it. The Tea Party may rail against Obamacare, but their first victories were against establishment incumbent Republicans. They took out Senator Bob Bennett and Trey Grayson, who was actually the favored candidate of powerful Republican leader Mitch McConnell. In fact, if there's one thing we know about the Tea Party, it's that they can beat Republicans. Whether they'll prevent Obama from occupying the White House again is an open question. So let's apply all this to the protesters on Wall Street. Right now, to be fair, no one's really talking about a 99% primary against Governor Cuomo or any other big Democrats. But look, if you do oppose the two parties that run this country, which I think is what most insurgents have in common, and you want to take electoral action, then you have basically two choices. You can start a third party, which is actually pretty hard under the laws passed by those two parties in power, or you can take on the party that's closer to your views, oust its leaders, and then use its infrastructure to create something better and in your own image. And that's one way to get the attention of incumbents like Governor Cuomo. Dylan?
Yeah.